You won't believe what some of Hollywood's biggest stars were hiding behind the red carpet smiles and golden statues. Imagine discovering a secret journal left behind by one of the most respected actors of the 20th century, filled with brutally honest confessions about his most famous peers. That's exactly what happened when a private diary believed to be written by Burt Lancaster surfaced, shaking the very foundation of old Hollywood. In it, a list of 14 iconic names, and a scathing takedown of their darkest sides. From manipulation to abuse, what was written reads less like a memoir and more like a final reckoning. Let's dive into this jaw-dropping list, starting with the man Burt labeled the cruelest of them all, Kirk Douglas. Now, Douglas wasn't just a Hollywood heartthrob or action hero. According to the Journal, he was a behind-the-scenes nightmare. Ruthless. Cold. Allegedly a man who used his fame like a weapon, shutting down careers if he didn't get his way. One story described an actress, Lisa Avery, who got booted off a major project just because she declined a dinner invite from him. He didn't just dominate roles, he controlled entire productions. And there were disturbing whispers about how he used drugs not just for personal pleasure, but to control those around him. Yeah, it gets that dark. Next up, Natalie Wood. Known for her delicate beauty and tragic death, she's remembered with sorrow, but in Burt's eyes, there was another side. Behind the soft voice and sad eyes was, allegedly, a master manipulator. He claimed she once faked a fainting spell on set, just to get someone fired. She'd pull emotional strings like a puppeteer, creating chaos when things didn't go her way. And then there's that mysterious death in 1981. Burt hinted it wasn't just an accident, but fallout from the dangerous web she spun during her lifetime. He wrote, "The sea didn't kill her. It only covered up what she left behind." Now hold on tight, because the third name is shocking, Mickey Rooney. The lovable, energetic actor who lit up screens with boyish charm was, according to the Journal, a verbal sadist. He'd humiliate extras over their clothes, mock people in front of crews, and reportedly controlled his wives like prisoners. One horrifying story said he slapped a wife on set because she showed up late. Burt said Rooney wasn't just troubled, he was cruel, and he enjoyed it. And just when you think you've heard it all, here comes Elizabeth Taylor, the queen of Hollywood glamour. But Burt said she was also the queen of tantrums. He described her storming off set over something as petty as a dress color match. She locked herself in her dressing room, threw wine at a director, and turned every film into her personal battlefield. According to the Journal, even her marriages were strategic power moves. Richard Burton, Mike Todd, they weren't love stories. They were chess pieces in her empire. Now, number 5 will really mess with your image of classic Hollywood, Spencer Tracy. Praised for his powerful performances and moral characters, but behind the scenes? Burt called him a ticking time bomb. A man who drank not to escape, but to control. There's an account of him smashing a bottle on set after a makeup error. And even worse? Allegations of abuse and sexual misconduct on film sets. Burt painted a picture of a man who played the saint on camera and the tyrant behind it. You still with me? Because next up is a guy everyone thought was squeaky clean, James Stewart. The all-American hero. But in Burt's Journal? A cold, calculating manipulator. He allegedly kept secret notes on actors' mistakes, then tattled to directors. One chilling claim? He refused to work with a black actor, disguising it as a script issue. Another? He forged documents to get people fired. He didn't need to yell or threaten. Burt said, he'd just sit quietly, and the whole room would shrink. And then comes Marilyn Monroe. The symbol of beauty and fragility. But Burt said she weaponized that fragility. She'd vanish from set, delay shoots, and emotionally manipulate everyone in her orbit. She had affairs with powerful men, like producer Jack Warner, then used those relationships to gain control. One moment, she's sobbing. The next, she's rewriting the rules of the production. Ready for more? Here comes Errol Flynn, the swashbuckling star of Robin Hood. But according to Burt, he was anything but heroic. He threw wild, drug-fueled parties, used his status to dodge legal trouble, and treated women like disposable accessories. People stayed silent out of fear, and when he got arrested, he simply called in favors and walked free. He was a golden boy on camera, and a monster off it. Now let's talk about someone who seemed like a model family man, Bing Crosby. Burt revealed that behind closed doors, Crosby was emotionally and physically abusive, especially to his children. His son, Gary, later confirmed it in his own memoir. One story involved Bing forcing Gary to stand shirtless outside in the cold as punishment for bad grades. That's not tough love. That's cruelty. And sadly, that legacy didn't stop with Bing. His son Gary Crosby, number 10 on the list, reportedly became just as abusive. Raised in violence, he mirrored it. Burt claimed Gary abused girlfriends, attacked colleagues over minor things, and was involved in drugs and sex work circles. Gary once shattered a director's windshield because he wasn't invited to dinner. The sins of the father, passed down like a curse. Now this next one's gonna hit hard, Henry Fonda. Mr. Morality himself. But according to the Journal, Fonda didn't yell, didn't hit, he ignored. He used silence as a weapon. Emotionally cold to his children, professionally ruthless. Jane Fonda once admitted he never really loved her. He controlled through coldness, driving people to the edge without lifting a finger. Speaking of Jane Fonda, she's number 12. And Burt didn't hold back. He claimed Jane used her politics as a weapon, pushing people to choose sides or risk being publicly humiliated. One story said she tried to get a cameraman fired for being Christian. When she didn't get her way, she threatened to call a press conference and frame it as workplace discrimination. Her message was clear: agree with me, or you're the enemy. We're almost there. Number 13, Joan Crawford. This one's been talked about before, but Burt backed it up. He said she wasn't just strict. She was violent. Her daughter, Christina, later told the world about the beatings and emotional torment. Burt called her a fear machine, a woman who believed pain was power, and used drugs, fear, and violence to dominate everyone in her home and on set. And finally, Lucille Ball. America's comedy sweetheart. But the laugh that once lit up living rooms? According to Burt, it became something terrifying behind the scenes. As head of her studio, she was said to be controlling to the extreme, keeping notebooks of employees' mistakes, firing them for minor slip-ups, and publicly humiliating staff. She even allegedly installed secret microphones to spy on meetings. When she found out someone wasn't loyal, game over. If you're still here, props to you, because that was a wild ride. Drop your thoughts below. Who shocked you the most? Who do you think was the real villain behind the camera? And hey, if you're into stories that peel back the curtain on fame and power, don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button. There's more where this came from.